is Crystal with Pineapple Papers, and it is Product Focus Friday with JQ Crafty, and she is focusing on Cocoa Vanilla Studios this month, which is super exciting because my friend Sharon challenged me and her. So Sharon, I expect to see a layout on Instagram today. To use our Daydream collection so that we could purchase the new collection that is coming out from Cocoa Vanilla Studios. So Jackie does like the product, and then she's also doing tools. So today she is doing like sketch pens that go on your silhouette, or she said you could do something sketchy. But yeah, I didn't do any of that. So this actually is the first layout, well, the second layout that I made with this collection. So I have actually, last week I used that love. So I'm making them a little out of order, but that's okay. So I have these two photos of my husband and I, and this was when, for spring break, we went down to Texas, and we went to San Antonio, and we went to the Pearl District. Well, the Pearl District is kind of like an up and coming hangout. It was an industrial area, and it's named because of the Pearl beer. So, of course, we had to drink Pearl beer, and it was actually pretty good. It was very light and refreshing, which was delicious. So I took his picture, and then Julianne decided that I needed a picture. So another little picture of my husband and I. We were sitting across the table from each other, so we weren't right next to each other, but we get to be right next to each other on this layout. So the color of the beer and the color of the photos is fairly yellow. So that's why I went ahead and picked this yellow tone-on-tone striped paper for my background. And then I was really having a hard time cutting into papers. So I keep looking at the back. I keep looking. I'm just like, I'm struggling. And I really like this blue, and I really like the blue and the colorful stripes together. And I'm like, oh, but on the back is this floral wreath, and I know I have two. Can I do it? I'm like, I just gotta cut it. Just do it. Just cut. And then, of course, it like slips and cuts the branding strip all wonky. I'm like, oh no, is that a sign that I'm not supposed to cut into this paper? And so I'm like, do I cut? Do I not cut? Oh, I don't know. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it, but I need to figure out where I'm going to cut. And I'm like, I wonder if there was a way to cut so that I could actually like fussy cut out some of the florals. And I'm like, you know what? Just do it. But you can see it's like totally stressing me out, right? Like, I'm like, I just got this beautiful wreath. Oh, what do I do? And yeah. So this was my internal struggle, and please tell me I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I know it's hard to cut into beautiful papers and use it. And I just didn't see a way to get that paper either, other than if I wanted to use the blue. But I opt not to. There's no gutting going on, you guys. I'm using the paper. So I decide to tear both of the bottoms of this particular large photo mat. And see, I totally was like, oh, I could maybe fussy cut those out, but I don't. I don't think I do. I think that I used that. Well, I might have used it on a layout. I don't know where it is, unless it's back in the bag. So I am going to rough up the edges with my edge distresser, because the restaurant we were in was very rustic. So I was going to give a little rusticness to this really pretty collection. And For the striped paper, I decided to roll it up because it has that beautiful pink on the bottom, so you can see that instead of the exposed white edge of the tearing. I have learned that from my friend Scrappy Kathy, and I am in love with it. So I don't do it on the blue paper because the back of the blue paper just has the white. So I didn't feel like it was necessary. So you just get the torn edge to the bottom of that. So I'm looking through the cut apart sheet, and I decide to cut out two pieces. I'm going to cut out this piece that says, "These are a few of my favorite things." And I'm also going to cut out this one that says "Good Times." So I know I want to use one of them as my title, but I'm not sure which one at this point. So I'm going to cut them both out so that I can play with them. And I like the Good Times, but I actually felt like it blended in a little bit more than the white. So I am going to decide on the white. I am going to rough up the edges of that as well to give it a little bit of texture. And then I am going to start digging through the die cuts and start embellishing. So I start with this sun, and I don't really like this sun. It's a little too cartoonish for me. But the way that the light was coming down in my photo, it had these streaks kind of like sun rays. So I thought, okay, maybe. So I leave it up there for a little bit, but it's gonna go away because it's gonna make it on a layout. I can almost guarantee it, but not this one. So I thought about bringing in these houses because we're at a restaurant, and houses I think can go for just about any sort of building you're in. But ultimately I decide on this big floral die cut, and then I find a small house. So I am going to tuck that behind my title, that little pink one. It was tall and skinny, where the other ones were a little bit shorter and fatter, and I felt like if I tucked them in, you didn't see them very well. So up in the left upper hand corner, I'm going to do another cluster. So this is definitely a diagonal layout. I mean, it's central because it's all kind of contained in the blocks. But as far as embellishing goes, it definitely goes from the left upper hand corner to the right lower hand corner. So there's a little tab that I can put the date on. I grab a couple of florals, so I have florals on the top and on the bottom. I am going to pull out these corduroy hearts that I love so much, and I'm going to pull out this yellow one, and I'm going to pop that on there. And then I'm actually going to use two flares on this one. I'm going to use the one that says "The Good Life," because you know, we were pretty lucky to have a spring break vacation. And the other one it's a little heart smiley sleepy face. And that'll get added in a little bit. So these flare have they have a tiny little pop dot in them, but when you take the flare off, the pop dot stays on the sheet. So what I have been doing is just adding either some like a scrap of fun foam, or mainly I've been using my Big Mama phone tape and doubling it up and putting it on there because I know it's gonna hold. That stuff is awesome. It like holds everything down. Like, yeah, love that. So I'm gonna pull some tiny words. I'm gonna pull one that says "Live your best life," one that says "Keep smiling," and then I find one and it says "This is," and I want to put it up in that cluster, so then it'll say "This is the good life." And my title relates because, you know, I do like me some beer. I love me some vacation, and of course, I love my husband. So that's kind of how all of my favorite things goes. So there is my layout. You will see in the close-ups, I did add some Spiegelmom scrap sequins in Dance It Out in that perfect blue color. So make sure you check out Jackie. I think that Daisy and Rebecca are also playing along. And remember to wear your crown. We'll see you next Friday. Bye.